Sandra! Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live with a new video. So in today's video, I want to discuss with you, when should you tell someone you are asexual? This particularly applies to dating relationships, but it can also apply to friendships or anyone that's in your life. So if you don't know who I am Sandra Burmy. I'm author of these awesome books, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, and Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. So don't forget to grab your copy of those off Amazon. So yes, when should you tell someone you're asexual? Well, you might have known for a while now I've been working on a book called Asexual Guide to Sex. This book is in no way, shape or form designed to do anything other than help those asexuals who have already got in mind they may want to try sex at some point in their life, or they're curious to know what others who are asexual do about it, basically. It's definitely not a book telling asexuals to have sex. I do not believe you should have sex if you do not want it, do not like it. And one of the questions in this Asexual Guide to Sex book that I ask other interviewees, other asexuals that have had sex, is when should you tell someone you're asexual? And so you can get different perspectives. And some of them have given their different variations of perspectives on that. But if you want to know my answer and what I truly believe is for the best, that is to always tell someone as soon as possible that you are asexual, particularly if you're looking to get into a relationship with this person, or you already started to get into a relationship with this person, because it's not fair on the other person if you keep your asexuality a secret. Because, and it's not fair to yourself either. It's fair to no one. If you can't share your most, if you can't share the fact you're asexual with a potential relationship partner, or you've already started the relationship, then how can you start to share other aspects of your life with them without keeping things secret? And you do not want to go around having secrecy in a relationship, because you should be sharing your life and world with that person. And you should feel comfortable enough to tell them anything and everything, especially if you decide you do want to share your body with them and have sex. If you can't even tell them you're asexual, that's not going to bode well for the future. But in order to save you both from a lot of heartache and pain, it's essential you tell that person you're asexual as soon as possible. It's not fair if sexuals pretend to be asexual when they're not, and it's equally not fair of asexuals to, go around not admitting they're asexual, maybe even pretending to be heterosexual. We need some sort of equality in this way, where we're both being very honest with each other, both sexualities, about our identity. Now, I realise that you may be scared and worry about ridicule and if the person's going to leave you. But if that's the case, then they're not going to be the right person for you anyway, if you're in danger of, treading on eggshells all the time, and you're worried that it might come out one day. It's much better to be open up front and honest and tell them now, and save a lot of heartache and pain when you become more attached to them down the line, than it is to keep this a secret. Right? And I see a lot of people posting in asexual groups like, oh, I've started dating this person, I'm really getting into them, we're really getting close, but I don't know whether to tell them I'm asexual or not, or when to tell them. And, and yes, some people will reject you for being asexual because they want the sex. But if you do not want sex ever, and that person needs sex, further down the line, the relationship's going to come unstuck. Either they're going to ask you for a polyamorous relationship, or they're going to cheat on you, usually, if they really need the sex that much, right? And it's horrible to say this, because I don't want to say someone's going to cheat on you. That's not a nice thing for me to say, but it's being honest with you, that if they are categorically clear that they want sex, you're categorically clear you don't, and you both are in a monogamous relationship, that they are either going to really resent you for not, for not telling them sooner, or because you're not giving them what they want, or they're gonna probably cheat, like I said, And I've seen sexual guys in comments be very frustrated when they find out the person's asexual later on, and they feel really like kind of cheated and hard done by. That's their point of view, right? From an asexual point of view, you could have spent the time you've been with this person focusing on other things to make you happy rather than getting too attached to this person and being let down the fact they can't love you without sex and they're going to leave you because of that. It's not a nice thing to say, but it happens a lot, and so in order to prevent this case scenario, it's better really ideally if you're a sex repulsed asexual or sex negative asexual that you look for someone who's also asexual and feels the same way as you do. Because the last thing you want to do is get into a relationship with someone who's so hypersexual, so wanting sex, that they're kind of really begging you for it. And then when you don't give it, they start getting quite aggressive or frustrated and angry. They start being secretive and all this type of negative emotions. I'm not saying there are asexuals that are never in relationships with sexuals and it doesn't work out. But those, for example, heterosexuals, they've decided, made a conscious choice that then, that they're either going to have a polyamorous relationship with that person or they're monogamous, and they're going to pleasure themselves basically and find other means of getting release without actually cheating. But you might still class it as cheating if they're watching porn and doing that type of thing, So you've got to decide for yourself, what type of relationship you want long term. Most people don't think enough about the long term, and you owe it to yourself and to the person in front of you to tell them the truth. If they don't believe you, it's not your problem, it's their problem, right? But you've got the problem then that if they don't believe you, they are invalidating your asexuality and your identity and kind of feeling, it makes you feel belittled and like you're misunderstood and not heard or recognized. So I would urge you strongly to make sure that you literally put in place some sort of kind of things in your mind that say, if this person doesn't believe me and they're not even trying to listen to me, and they're just judging me and invalidating me, I think you need to put some safety precautions in place where you need to leave that relationship because it's unhealthy for you. You can't be in a relationship with someone who actually invalidates who you are as a person because they're invalidating you in the relationship, and it's not healthy. So I really would say, please, do come out as asexual in the first instance if it's to get into a relationship. Before you even get into it, you should be putting it in your bio on the dating site if you're going to be doing dating site stuff, and spelling it out what your asexuality means. I put in dating sites, I'm not interested in sex. And when I was on Facebook dating, I had to spell out I hate all types of sex in the end, because when I said I wasn't interested in sex, a lot of them didn't really listen to me. And the ones who did, they're like, oh, so will you give me a blowjob and stuff like that? It's like, no, I'm not interested in any type of sex. What is it about the words I don't like sex do you not understand? Well, clearly you don't understand it, so I have to spell out I hate all types of sex, And so it's very important that, you do spell these things out, because further down the line, things can't be misconstrued then. And if someone doesn't believe you early on in the relationship, it gives you a chance to leave that relationship and move on to someone better and other better things in your life, We always have to remember that we don't have to be in a relationship with anyone. We can be happy being single. I know society kind of teaches, oh, well, if you're not in a relationship, you're going to be alone and lonely forever and die alone. It's going to be so bad. But being single can be one of the best things in your life. It can be very empowering. You can have a lot of experiences because you haven't got anyone else to look after but yourself. You can be free to come and go as you please. You can literally live the life of your dreams a lot more if you're single, because you've only got yourself to be responsible for yourself, right? And, that comes with all the responsibilities of things go wrong, but it also encompasses all the things that are going to go right for you. And, you've got to understand that being single is actually a blessing sometimes, and you need time out on your own to be away from being with another half sometimes, and permanently sometimes for long periods of time, It can be a lot more empowering, invigorating if you just leave someone that's no good for you. So how do you come out? You just literally, like I said, you tell them in your bio if it's a dating site. If you've actually got a date, like I used to tell guys before they even had a date with me that I'm not interested in sex. So one guy, for example, who lives near my home, he came near me and he asked me for a coffee, to take me for a coffee, and I said, well, I don't actually drink coffee, I drink juice, and I'm not interested in having sex. And he's like, I didn't ask you for sex, I asked you if you wanted a coffee. But that's where guys lead on to later on down the line, and I didn't want him to be disappointed. It was an older guy that I would usually be interested anyway. You know what I mean? He's got a grown-up kid. And so, besides the age difference, I want to make it clear that I was not interested in sex. I used to see this guy a lot on his bicycle, and he stopped me because he used to be attracted to me. Obviously, he stopped me, and then he started talking about, so are you a lesbian? Because he obviously had been thinking about what I said, so he must have been considering strongly a relationship with me, in the sense that you must have been thinking, gone away and thought about what I said. And I said, no, I'm not a lesbian. I'm just not attracted to guys sexually or anyone, I just don't want sex. And so it still took him a long time to wrap his head around it. I still don't think he fully got it. He tried to palm me off with his friend once who still had his wedding ring on. It's like, I don't want to be with a married man, you know what I mean? Or even a divorced guy like that. If a guy's wearing his wedding ring still, he's not really looking to get out the relationship, is he? So I was a bit disappointed he did that, really. I thought it was a bit rude. But, I told his friend that he was too old for me anyway. I think he found that amusing. But, I think it's better to be blunt and direct and to the point and just say it like it is, because it saves you a lot of heartache and pain down the line. Same as if you don't want kids, if that's a deal breaker to you, because you don't like sex maybe, and you don't want kids because, you don't want them biologically, and maybe you just don't want them full stop, like I don't, then, that's maybe a deal breaker to the other person as well. So all these hard topic conversations you should be having the very beginning of a relationship, or before ideally you even get into a relationship. Because if you can bust through all these really tough things that you need to speak about, and you can get them sorted early on, it will actually strengthen your relationship, because you'll be like a powerhouse together. There'll be no question that you can't ask to your partner or potential partner that they won't answer, and that'll give you a much more deeper degree of comfortability, right? So say you tell someone you're asexual and they actually don't mind that, or they want to know more about it, they want to understand you better. It doesn't mean to say just because you tell someone you're asexual that everyone's automatically going to run away or not want to be with you. If they don't, that's good, you found it out now, but they might just need time to wrap their head around it, do their own research about it, talk to you about it, and come to terms with it. For some people, it can be a real shocker, because some asexuals can look very, very sexy, wear sexy clothes, reveal some body parts, and they don't look any different to sexuals in appearance, for example. And then they can feel like they've been deceived, or they are in a deception, or they just are in kind of a daze, like, what happened? Because you don't look like you don't want sex. Do you know what I mean? This is the type of stereotypical things that sexuals will think and say. And so you've got to understand that, it's much better to get all this stuff out in the open in the beginning, because if not, you can, if it's not going to work out, you can move on to someone else or stay single. And it's better for you to not be in a relationship than be with someone who's the wrong person for you, even in the short term or long term. So, always tell the person you get into a relationship with very quickly, or before you get into a relationship with them. It's really important, so they don't feel deceived, don't feel like you've got them under false pretenses. Do you know what I mean? In the relationship or dating scenario. If it's friends, pick the friends who you're closest to, who are least judgmental, and tell them first. Same with family members. Do that with the people that are least judgmental first of all. Because obviously the more people you tell, it can be more overwhelmed. But the more people you tell, and you get get practice in telling these people about your asexuality, then the more easy it becomes to describe it to others and to live in your asexuality and not be ashamed of it or afraid of talking about it. So that's another benefit of really expressing what asexuality means to you and telling these people, this person, about your asexuality. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful in any way. If you have, please pop an emoji down below. Love to know what you think, your comments and everything. Obviously, in terms of coming out to your parents, family, and that, the same rule applies as I just discussed with you with friends, is that always tell the parent or relative that's going to be the least judgmental first, usually. But don't be surprised if they don't just tell each other anyway. So you've got to be prepared for that. Preparation is key to success and happiness. I always say that. Anyway, like I said, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.